Hi, this is Yehan Jehan, and today I'm going to be showing you my track City Mashups and the whole Logic session from the album Downloading a New Operating System from my band Quasi Key, which was released 2 years ago now. And I'm going to be showing you the whole Logic session and how it was produced. So let's get into it. So the last time I did a video like this was for my song Invisible Friends from my previous EP. And around that time, I was producing this song and the whole album that came out. So this is the session as I left it before we went into mixing. So before we get into it, I'm going to play the demo just to recap what the initial idea was and how it sounded. So this is from 31st of January 2020. Let's listen. So yeah, that's the demo that I originally did, and later went on to just kind of expand on it, make a full song and produce it fully. The whole genesis of the song was the drum beat and the arpeggiator. So we're gonna go track by track and I'll show you exactly what's going on and how everything was constructed. This is what the whole song looks like, and this is how I left it. And let's go from the top, which is the drums. So I started the beat with 2 bass drums, one which is like a small sound like this. It's like very small and hissy. I really like that. And then a louder one, which is more kind of open. And so together they are like this. And I can just mix them to taste. Like this one was a bit too small and too hissy, so this one gives a bit of bottom end and kind of room ambience. Then the snare. These are the hi-hats that I programmed. They're slightly over-compressed, so the hiss kind of adds this rhythm to it as well. For some reason there's an overlaid drum machine, which is the Roland CR8000, which was just around. One of the key features of the intro of the song is the clock sample, which is giving this rhythm, and this field recording loop, which is part of the intro. And so essentially all of it together sounds like this. So over to the arpeggiators, this one is created with the Nord Electro. I just triggered an arpeggiator and used one of the internal samples that I had loaded up and made the decay very short. And so that's how that sounded. And I'm kind of playing with the decay as it goes on. And so for a time I had it just like this. I overlaid it with an OB6 synth, which I ran through some effects. And this one's really great combined. So with this real synthesizer, I was just kind of manipulating it as it went with the filters and the panner, which is really nice. I was kind of fading it in and out. And in the intro also I had this other patch of random kind of drum sounds from the OB6, which come in halfway through. Then over to the main kind of horn stab, it's an overlay of 4 different samples. Well, actually two samples and some additional things that I added in to create a more 3D effect. So this is the sample that I put in initially, which I put the kind of intro. And then I overlaid a very harsh kind of Juno fizzy synth underneath. and a bit of sub bass, and a double bass from an orchestra. And I overlaid it with that, which gives very dark note touch. And so together they are really... And additionally, I was playing around with the string effects section on the Spitfire chamber strings, which is what I used to program all the strings. And one of the libraries, it has all these beautifully played effects, which are natural string effects that the musicians can do on the violin and violas. And they're just going up and down and being extremely haunting. And then this one kind of, this trill fall comes in. So I overlaid the shit out of them and I just got it up to here. So the more I overlaid, the more chaotic everything became, and just the tension was really perfect. So together everything got to a place where I wanted it to go. So that's just like a double-tracked basic vocal that I did. There's this cool tom fill, which I did just before the chorus comes in. The only additional thing that comes in on the drums is a more punchy kick for the chorus, which I put in. So that kick that I added just kind of brought the chorus up one more level, because I think it just lacked that punch, and this sample really defines it. So now this is the first time that any bass comes in the song, and there's a lot of different bass parts, mostly sub basses from the 808 and a TB, it's not a TB303, it's the SH101 from the Tal plugin, which I love. So the first bass is the sub bass, which is like this. And a fill, which has a bit of a chorus. And the other basses are the SH101. And this one I give a bit of a spread and growl and chorus from the CLA bass. And here I opened up the filter and the resonance a bit. I forgot that in the drums a snap and a shaker come in. The guitar is running through a Volcano filter, which is by FabFilter, and I had it on a preset here, which is something to do with a flange or phase up. I don't know which one, but this is how it sounds. And so the last part is the pad, which originally sounded like this, which is kind of a basic Prophet Juno sample that was loaded in the Node Electro, and I wanted to filter it out, so I just did an extreme terrible EQ that looks like this. So I added the low end and I cut everything out here, and I added the shaper box on a sidechain. There was a bit of chorus coming from the Brigade, from the UA, but I don't have it plugged in right now, so I'll just put on a alternative chorus, like the Dimension. So when I was demoing initially, I recorded the pad like this. But then it made sense to just put it through a low-pass filter and give it that pumping sidechain effect. And by doing that, I allowed more space for the vocal to come in, to take over, and for the strings to have more, to be more audible, because they're kind of in the same frequency, and so you have the strings creep up here. These are programmed with the Spitfire. And then later on there's an additional line which goes like this. And another one. I love those. When I first discovered the Spitfire chamber orchestra, and that I could actually get away with those kind of lines simply by using the modulation wheel with the dynamics, and having the room mics really high with all that hiss and that kind of authentic touch which you never get with sampled MIDI strings. It was just a kind of crazy moment to realize that the sounds could be that good, and so yeah, I just went crazy on it. So the vocals are here with me, my sister Zadi.
City mashups that I have been dreaming, redesigning the whole world as it keeps turning. It's the city mashups that I have been dreaming. It's a deja vu I'm starting to believe in. City mashups that I have been dreaming, redesigning the whole world as it keeps turning. It's the city mashups that I have been dreaming. It's a deja vu I'm starting to believe in.
And then halfway in the verse, there's some additional elements that came in. I added the pad which has a shimmer from Valhalla, and it had the shaper box doing the sidechain. Here on the bass, I'm distorting the hell out of it, and I put a phaser on it, I think. So here there's two basses, one which is doing the low heavy lifting, and one which I distorted and ran through some pedals, I think. So a phaser and a bit of distortion. By the third verse, I added these heavy claps. I think that's the next feature on the drums, but that's just about it. Okay. Completely forgot about this. I don't know if it ended up in the final mix, but there's a line on the OB6 which went like this. Reverse crash, fill. So then after that third chorus, it goes into this breakdown, which has a drum machine from the Digitact, which I had a loop going on with the bass line. And then for the final breakdown, the crazy string effects come back in. So I took all the vocal stems and I ran it through a shaper box on a couple of these time stutters using the great shaper box plugin, which I just love. So I ran it through a couple of these stutter patches. So it ended up sounding like this. And I'm running it through the timeless Dub 7. Dub E7, my favorite preset. So that's City Mashups. That's everything that's inside the session. That's how it was produced. If you like that, if you want me to do another breakdown, comment below. See you next time.